Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience and kind of my advice slash tips for long distance relationships. Now obviously every relationship is different. Just from my personal experience and kind of what no one really warned me about before getting into a long distance relationship. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and let's get into it. So to start off, my boyfriend Jeremy and I have been dating for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in June, and we've basically been doing long distance for most of our relationship. We met the summer after my first semester at university, so it was May of 2016. My best friend took me on a camping trip, and he's actually her cousin, so I met him there. And honestly, we just kind of clicked on that trip. And after the trip, we came back home to Port Coquitlam, and we just started talking and hanging out, and you know, the rest is history. At the start, I was super nervous about doing long distance because of some past experiences. But when Jeremy talked to me about doing long distance and I kind of asked him about it, he said, like, yeah, let's do it. And so I was really excited, but I was also super nervous because neither of us has done a long distance relationship. We have no idea what it would be like. You know, we were kind of going into it blind, not really knowing what would come out of it, but just kind of hoping like everything will kind of work out and like fall into place kind of. And so I'm back from May to August, like every summer. So we spend three months, 3.5 months together each year. And then I come back for holidays, and he comes to visit me like once or twice. He came twice this year to visit me. He actually just left yesterday. He was here with me for a week, so I thought what better timing than to do a video about long distance right after he leaves. But he's always been super supportive of my choice to go to school in Texas and pursue my swimming out here. And saying goodbye to each other is just honestly the most heartbreaking thing ever. We go so much time without seeing each other, but I know he's who I want to be with and nothing else really matters, you know? Doing long distance is obviously not easy. Some days you'll be fine and some days are harder than others. You know, everyone has their off day, but I recommend staying busy. Go to work, go to school, catch up with some friends, work out. If you have a dog, go take your dog out for a long walk, you know, just like stay occupied, because if you're just sitting in your room moping around, you know, it's not really gonna help anything. It's just gonna make you feel worse and kind of get more in like a slump. One thing I was worried about when Jeremy and I decided to start doing long distance was if he was gonna come and visit me or not. And if we were apart for so long, would he feel like forget about me or like forget about what we're like together and like our relationship? And I was really, really worried about that. And it's not that I didn't believe in him or our relationship, I was just nervous. And it's just kind of those late night thoughts you have, you know, when you're just lonely and you're just sitting there like, has he forgotten about me? But my advice is to communicate with each other. If you want your partner to come visit, come and tell them. They can't read your mind. They don't know what you're thinking all the time or what you're worried about, and just let them know about, hey, are you gonna come visit me? And just like ask them and be straight up with them and be straightforward, have that open line of communication, you know? I learned this the hard way. I tended to kind of keep things to myself and not really express if I was worried about something, because I didn't want him to think that I was second guessing our relationship, because I wasn't. I guess I just kind of wanted that like reassurance, and if I told him, he would have given it to me, because obviously it's outrageous for me to think that he would just forget about me, but it's just kind of those thoughts that I would have, and I would just be like, oh my god, everything's gonna go wrong, like what's gonna happen? But he didn't know because I didn't communicate with him. And while I'm talking about communication, at the beginning of our relationship, even like now sometimes, I think that we need to be communicating and talking with each other like 24/7 or our relationship is gonna fall apart, but that's not true at all. I think I need to always like be in touch with him and always texting him and talking to keep our relationship alive, you know, and just keep that kind of, that spark. But the fact is, we both get busy, we both have our own lives. Like, I don't really want to be spending 24/7 just talking to him and just focusing on that and not really focusing on anything else, you know, always being on my phone. Like, that's not something I want to do, and I'm starting to kind of get away from that, but I tend to fall back and think that we still need to be communicating at all times. But when we do have a busy day or a week, or we just didn't have time to talk a lot, then me and Jeremy try and plan like a FaceTime call where we'll talk for like, you know, like 1 hour, 2 hours, and just like catch up on everything. And honestly, those talks are just like this breath of fresh air, and I almost like it better than like FaceTiming, you know, 3 nights in a row, and it's like not having anything to talk about on the 3rd night because you kind of talked about everything that's like happened, and you're just both tired, and you're just like yeah, you know. And me and Jeremy don't talk all day, but we will like Snapchat and try and keep in contact throughout the day, you know, texting a couple times. And we kind of have this routine where he'll text me after work when he gets off, and then I'll usually text him goodnight first because I go to bed 2 hours earlier than him because of the time change. And I would recommend kind of having some sort of routine with your like partner, like him always saying good morning, or you always saying good night, or like something like that, like having a scheduled date where you FaceTime. It's just nice to have something to kind of look forward to, I guess. I know how hard it is to not be able to be with your partner all the time, but just trust me when I say stay positive. I know being away from each other can be painful and lonely, but it's all gonna be worth it. Like everything's gonna be okay. Anytime I get really sad or lonely, I kind of just think about really how lucky I am that I have this guy that I love with all of my heart, and he loves me back, and we have this great relationship. I just need to remember, excuse me, I need to remember how grateful I am for the relationship and for him, and just for everything that he's done for me and everything that like he's made me feel, you know what I mean? And like just remember the relationship's worth it. Just try and keep that kind of mindset when it gets tough, and just kind of remind yourself of like, hey, I have someone that I love and that loves me back, and we have a great thing going. Let's just keep it that way, you know? Long distance never really gets easier. Like the goodbyes hurt more and more each time, but the feeling you get when you finally get to see that person after like weeks or months apart, oh my god, you can't compare. Like I still get butterflies every time I see Jeremy, whether it's at the airport or like at my house back home. Like I just get so happy, and like all of it's just kind of worth it in that moment, you know? Like all of like the crying, all of just being lonely and feeling so sad, like it's all worth it when you get to that moment, you get to see that person finally again. Like, and you'll get to a point in your relationship where you're just comfortable enough with how strong your relationship is that you don't really worry about how far apart you guys are. What matters is that you love each other, and you'll do anything for your relationship. Another thing for me is I get extremely lonely out here because my family and a majority of my friends are also back home, and it really sucks when the people you need the most are a 4-hour plane ride away. So I started to kind of get into hobbies. I started bullet journaling last year to kind of keep myself busy and kind of have something to look forward to every day, and have something I need to do for like myself, kind of. I made it more of a I made it a self-care kind of thing. And like once a week I would like sit down like Sunday or something, and I would sit there and just like bullet journal and like make everything planned out, and like I would try and do it a couple times a week to keep myself busy, you know. If I'm bored just sitting there and just getting kind of like sad, I'll just go and like grab my bullet journal, I'll just grab some colored pencils, and I'll just start coloring, and like it's very relieving. And now I started doing YouTube, which I genuinely enjoy, and it gives me something to do kind of each week. I have a routine, I have a schedule, I know exactly what days I want to film, how long it'll take me to edit the videos, and like when I want to post them and all that stuff. And it kind of just keeps me busy and my mind off of like missing home and missing my family and my boyfriend and my friends, you know? And now I'm going to be talking about kind of 6 tips that I have for you. You don't have to take them, obviously. They're just kind of like my tips to you if you want, if they relate to you or anything like that. So tip number 1 is enjoy your times with your friends. For my situations, most of my friends are back home, but I do have friends out here that I like to hang out with, and it's nice to not have your life revolve around kind of missing your partner and like missing everything and just kind of being sad. And your friends can keep you busy, and hopefully they make you happy and make you kind of enjoy your life a little more. Tip number 2, always be honest with each other. I know it seems like such an obvious thing to do, but just be open to your partner about your fears, your insecurities, your jealousy. Like make sure that they're aware, because once again, they can't read your mind, and they can't be there for you if they don't know what's fully going on, you know? Tip number 3, be aware of each other's schedules. Know when your partner is working, or when they have a busy day running errands, or if they have school, or if they have a big test coming up they need to study for, and just let them know if you're busy, you know? So neither of you are kind of wondering like, oh, why haven't they answered in hours? Why haven't they opened this message or this Snapchat or like anything like that? Just so you guys are both kind of on the same page and like aware of each other's schedules and like when you will be able to talk. Tip number 4, keep each other updated on your friends and family. It's always good to kind of gossip a little bit on something juicy that happened, you know, and it can make you feel a little more connected. Like you're not there, but you still know who hooked up with who at that party last weekend, you know? Tip number 5, remind yourself of the big picture. This is not forever and you're gonna get through this. Honestly, I know that when me and Jeremy's long distance part of our relationship is over, like our relationship is gonna be stronger than ever, and I know that we'll be able to kind of get through everything because we did get through this with not seeing each other for months at a time. And I feel like this has brought us closer together and it just made our relationship stronger as a whole, you know? Tip number 6, don't worry about making your visits perfect. Your visits to each other do not need to be perfect. I stressed very hard about Jeremy's first visit out here. I wanted to make sure every single thing was perfect, that like at all times he was having fun, like there was no time where he was just bored, just kind of sitting in my dorm room, you know? But like, the fact is, like, when he does come to visit, like, we're both kind of tired. Like, that's his kind of break from working, and that's my break from kind of school and swimming usually. And so I just kind of want to sit there and relax, and like, he just wants to sit there and relax, and like, but I was still over there stressing, like, oh my God, he's just sitting there. Is he having fun? Like, do I need to do something? Like, do we need to go somewhere, you know? I would stress so hard about that, but it doesn't really matter because what matters is, yeah, go and have fun with each other, but also just know that like it's gonna be a good trip no matter what, because you did get to see each other and you did get to spend time with each other and like reunite and like remind yourselves of like why this is worth it, you know? Just like being able to spend time with each other, like that makes it worth it. So just try not to overthink it and just kind of enjoy your time together rather than stressing about what you could be doing or if he or she is having fun, you know what I mean? Like, they're probably going to be having a good time with you no matter what because they're with you and they get to spend more time with you. Okay guys, that's everything for my kind of long distance relationship advice talk kind of thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this video was helpful to some of you guys going through the same thing that my boyfriend and I are going through. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys next week.